remember that square root functions look like half a parabola on its side. And we'll get that shape by plugging in some values here. So I've chosen some x values to plug in that will be good for showing the shape of the graph and making things easy. So I've chosen numbers that we can easily take the square root of. Let's first plug in -4. Now this is going to give us imaginary numbers. It's going to give us a negative number under the square root, but I wanted to put it here just to show you how that works. So we'll have -4 times the square root of -4. So that's going to be -4 times 2i, which is -8i. Now we can't graph that on this plane, so that is out of the domain of this function. So we're not going to be able to graph -4. And in fact, if we look at what we need to do in order to make make a positive number underneath the square root, we're going to need to go 0 or above. So we can't have negative numbers under the square root, otherwise we get that I, and then we would need another dimension on our x values in order to graph that. So if we plug in 0 for x, we're going to get the square root of 0 here, which is just 0. -4 times the square root of 0, or times 0, is 0. So we're going to have the coordinate point 0, 0. If we plug in 1, we'll have -4 times the square root of 1. That's -4 times 1, so that is -4. So that's the coordinate point 1, -4. That's right here. And if we plug in 4, then we'll get -4 times the square root of 4. That's -4 times 2, which is -8. So we can go to the coordinate point 4, -8. That's right here. And so this is going to start at 0, 0, and it's going to kind of go down something like that. So for the domain and range, the domain is all real numbers greater than or equal to 0, or another way of saying that is all non-negative real numbers. For the range, well, if we look at what y values we have, we can have any negative y values, we can have 0. We just can't have positive y values here. They don't pop up on this graph. So we could say any non-positive real numbers for the range.